What's up, guys? This is Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the overall markets. I'm going to break down some key levels to watch for, what Elon Musk just said that's very important, and a bullish catalyst that's coming to the markets. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you sign up for Moomoo and deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $2,000, you're guaranteed 25 in total, and deposit $5,000, you're guaranteed 60 free stocks. The offer ends in just 2 weeks. Anyways, let's talk about what's happening with this market. So, looking at Tesla, we're seeing a bit of a rebound after something Elon Musk just said. However, I did tell you guys that we will try to rebound, but we have to watch and see if we could hold above these levels. There is this resistance right here that Tesla is testing, and we haven't broken past 345 yet to really break out higher. As of right now, we're still in a range, but simultaneously, we're doing a good job compared to the market. So, good job to push by Tesla. But the question is, can we break out more? I'll talk about some key levels in just a couple of minutes. We do have tough resistance at 345, and we haven't been able to lose 338 to turn back down. We're just range bound for now. So, I'll talk about these levels in just a couple of minutes. But just know that when you look at this chart right over here, you can see how SPY and Tesla have a lot in common with the way in which they pump together, they dump together, push, and then they dip together. My point in saying this is that the whole market's kind of moving in unison. As you could tell, SPY and the QQQ are starting to bounce just a little bit, but it's not really that massive of a move. That's why Tesla's still kind of range bound. The market's pushed a bit, but it's still range bound. And I do think Tesla's in that very, very similar state, at least for the time being. Now, we had some news from Kathy Wood, who said that the brand damage that happened to Tesla, it's happened, but it's going to just be a short-term thing. It's not for the long term. And she's saying that Tesla's going to have a lock for the long term. They're going to be completely fine, at least moving forward. She does not believe the damage is going to be for the long term. And then she also mentioned that Tesla has a lock on the robotaxi business in the USA. And she's very bullish because of that. She was saying that, at least for the time being. She did mention that the tariffs could also negatively affect them, but she acknowledged that Musk's move away from Doge is important, and that is once again going to benefit them in a lot of different ways. So that's some big news, as Kathy Wood is very bullish on Tesla as a result. I do agree with her point about how important the robotaxi is going to be. Then we had Elon Musk, who gave some important updates about Tesla today. So Elon Musk was talking about how, first off, he's going to be remaining as CEO for at least 5 years. He also talked about how they have big plans for the robotaxi, launching 10 units in the beginning, but eventually a lot more after that. Musk also addressed the European sales. Musk said that Europe is our weakest market, but we're strong everywhere else. Our sales are doing well at this point, and we don't anticipate any sales shortfalls. That's what Musk is saying when asked about the first quarter. Also, Elon Musk is talking about how he thinks that the stock market recognizes that since we are over $1 trillion market cap, clearly the market's aware of the situation, so it's already turned around. So he's saying that Tesla's still going to do well and that the share price is already up so much. So Musk has been saying that things are going to be fine. Elon Musk also talked about how there's going to be no issues with Tesla's demand for the long term. He's saying we're going to make a strong comeback, and he sees a big increase in Tesla's demand moving forward. So he's telling us, do not panic. Don't be scared. Don't be afraid. Everything's going to be okay for Tesla. That's what Elon Musk is telling us, at least so far. More updates involving the news. I do have two more things to talk about. So we had our PMI data. All the data was above expectations, showing some strength in services and manufacturing. Decent data overall. That's why the market started to hold up. And now we do have some bill auctions coming out very soon. So we'll see what that leads to. Besides that, I just wanted to mention President Trump. So President Trump has a tax bill that has passed the House of Representatives. And I believe that once he signs this, this is going to be very bullish for the stock market. So keep that in mind. As of right now, it's going to be going to the Senate, and we'll have to see what they end up telling us. They could pass it by, maybe next week. And then once it passes, President Trump will sign it into law. That's going to be some big news because that's going to cause a lot of volatility. So the market's getting bought back up, but Tesla's range bound. Tesla needs to break this 245 resistance to push for 345 to break for 350 to get back above this resistance. If we end up losing 340, though, that's going to be where this 20 EMA is. We could turn back down towards 333. As of right now, we're just kind of like range bound. If you look at the last couple of hours, Tesla pushed a bit only to start shuffling. So last like 2 hours, we've been stuck between 338 in the low 340s, kind of going back and forth like this. And I do think we kind of continue to do this. We might come down like this, bounce, and just continue to trade sideways unless we break and hold 345 to push more. Tesla's going to be range bound for just some time. Now, when it comes to downside, let me just call out that, I see these dips as buying opportunities, because even if Tesla does end up dipping more, it's going to be a big opportunity. Like, we need to see Tesla lose 323 on the daily to start coming down to fill this gap near 300. There's no guarantee it's going to happen like that. So keep that in mind. Whether we get some kind of dip here and then we start to break out, or if we see a much larger move, I'll be watching to see if this is the bottom for Tesla like this. And then if we start to launch, if we break 350, we're looking for a big push approaching the robotaxi event. However, there's also the possibility that Tesla does not bottom here. If we do make a new low, just hypothetically, we'll be looking at this 320 to about 300 area, and then we could be looking for a massive bounce after that to break these highs. It all depends on how low Tesla goes, which I can't really promise right now. It depends on a lot of different factors. As of right now, whether we form a bottom in the 320s like we already did, or if we dip closer to 300 flat, there's going to be a big bounce coming off one of those levels. I want to make that very clear. As far as spies going, we're starting to bounce a bit, but we're still technically range bound between 580 and 585. We're stuck in that range. So we're just kind of going back and forth like this. If we break 585, we can push more back up to 588. But if we end up losing 580, we're looking for another dip down. So here's how I see the market moving. We have 580 as our main support, but we also have a gap that's worth watching. So basically, what's going to happen is this. If we're going to bottom at 580, I can't make promises about this, but if we do bottom here, then we're looking for a big rally once we get the Trump tax bill and more updates. But if the bottom's not in yet, if we lose 580, we could be dipping to 575, and eventually this gap fills to like 566. So basically 566 to the low 570s could be coming in this range for one more big leg down, and then that could be where we form a temporary bottom, because I think President Trump's tax bill will launch the market right back up. So it depends, is the bottom in yet, or are we about to see the market dip one more time for another leg down before we form a bottom? We just have to wait and see how it goes. For now, we're just range bound, to be very patient for the next couple of days. On the QQQ, I think that we might be dipping towards 507 and then maybe trying to bounce. It depends on if the bottom is in yet or not. We did actually come down to about 510. 510 to 507 could be the bottom before we bounce, or we could go much lower towards like 500 to 490 in this range down here, and then we get a big bounce depending on how we end up reacting to news tomorrow. But either way, that's what I'm essentially looking for now with the Trump tax bill coming. For the IWM, if the bottom's here at 200, we're going to be looking for a bounce to get back above 206. If that breaks, we go back up to the highs. If 200 fails us, we're looking for this second gap to fill at least to about 195. And then we could be looking for a full bounce. On ES, we're actually making lower highs right here. We need to break past 5900 to really bounce. So basically, it depends on how we end up reacting. We're kind of like bouncing off 5850, but rejecting near 5880. If we make a new low, we could dip towards 5750 to 5700 to fill that gap and then see a big bounce from there. Or if we don't really dip much more, if we kind of hold around this range, then you want to see us break this blue trend line. If that breaks, we're going to remain bullish. Either way, I do see us dipping a bit more. We could see the low 5800s, if not as low as the 5700s before we form a bottom and bounce, or with the bottom could be near and then the market bounces here. It depends. I have to like wait and see on that, but that's what I'm anticipating, at least for now on ES. On NQ, we have the same setup essentially. So basically, we're watching this support right over here around 21,000 flats. If 21,000 is the bottom, you want to see us kind of hold this and break out. But here's the thing about that. But that might not be the bottom. And if it's not the bottom at 21,000, we could be dipping all the way down towards like 20,700, if not all the way down to fill this gap. And I would like to see us fill the gap. I hope we do that before we get a bounce. So we'll be watching this very closely just to be safe. So watch to see if 21,000 breaks or not. On Bitcoin, we're looking bullish. We have 112,000 as our resistance, so we'll see what kind of reaction we get. On Tesla, we're looking a little bit more bullish, but we need to see us hold above 345. As of right now, we're stuck between 345 and 338 for the most part, trading sideways, unless we break 345 to be more bullish. Nvidia's at resistance is still technically trading sideways. We have this resistance right now around this 134 area, and our support's at 130. We're sort of just going back and forth until we see one of these levels break. If we don't hold 130, we're looking for a dip to 127 or below. That could dip the market lower. So we'll see if we bounce off that. But if we break 138 from here, we could be going higher. So it depends. We got this big rejection off the divergence. Could we make a lower high and reject and dip a little bit more before we form a bottom? We'll have to see about that. For Apple, we basically filled this gap. We came very close to doing it. So we're going to see if Apple ends up getting a big bounce, whether we get back above 206 to rebound from here or if we dip lower first and then bounce. It all depends on where we end up forming our bottom. Let me go back to AMD. AMD is going to be testing 110. It's a little bit of weak here. 110 could be tested, if not 107.5. We need to hold that range. If not, we have a gap to fill all the way down to 102. So I either see a big bounce in that like 110 zone or all the way down to 102 for us to see a rebound attempt. PayPal is making lower highs here. We have to see if we can break 72. If not, we're looking for 70.8 and the gap fill back down to 70. And we'll see if we get a bounce. Coinbase is bullish as we're holding this trend line. As long as it holds, we're favoring 272.5 or above. Amazon's dipped quite a bit. We have to see if the support holds at 200. If we lose 200, we have a gap to fill to 193. But if we hold 200, we could be looking for a bounce. So it all depends on if we break 200 or not. On Meta, we're looking for essentially 622. If that breaks, we're looking for a dip back down to the lower 600s. And we want to see if we can reclaim 640. We're very choppy right now, very indecisive. Google is looking pretty decent. It's got a nice breakout here. It's still very bullish after they're announcing their new AI search engine. So we could be looking for an attempt to continue to uptrend for 177.5. As long as we don't lose 168, we look bullish. Microsoft is also trending sideways here, so we're going to be watching to see if we could hold above 453 or not. I do see a lot of sideways price action. So will the VIX get a big rejection? Are we about to see one more push? It all depends. The market's indecisive. But my view is quite simple. The market will form a bottom eventually, but we'll have to see if we make a new low or not. We'll be very, very patient, at least nonetheless. For Tesla, we're holding up very, very nicely, but I do see us being range bound just for now between 338 and essentially 345. I do see us trading sideways for now. Tesla could try to break 345 later on to push higher, but for now, just look for some chop. And we'll give this some time to develop. So we'll see what other pieces of news come out. I thank you all so much for listening, and peace out.